Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is that you inky savages are joining me for episode number 194 of the PenBoyRoy Pentertainment Podcast. Today I want to talk about how handwriting, what handwriting does in terms of telling you about you. What does handwriting say about you? And when I say you, I mean me, because I can't see everybody's handwriting in front of me and talk about it. But I was curious as to what it means when you see a person's handwriting and what you can deduct from the handwriting about a person's personality. And I found a website that I started reading, and it was interesting, but I stopped myself because I want to kind of reveal what my handwriting says about me and then argue it or agree with it with you guys live on camera. So I'm going to throw up a sample of what it was that I was my handwriting. The article that I was reading, I read as far as it told me what to write. It said, write the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. And then if you keep going, there's like all these pictures and samples of writing and characteristics of writing that discuss what the writing means about my personality. I didn't really look at it, so I'm not sure what it's going to tell me, but I do want to have an authentic reaction to stuff before I record this, and I want to do it live in front of you guys. But first, I got to talk about our sponsorships. Please check out the affiliate link in the description below at Gold Spot Pens. It's a Gold Spot Pen affiliate link that helps me out every time you make a purchase. And one of the pens that I want to talk about this week, two of them actually, is the Opus 88 Demo Twilight Sonata Fountain Pen. Compose a harmonious symphony of words with the new Opus 88 Twilight Sonata Fountain Pen. This exclusive collaboration between Opus 88 and Goldspot Pens features custom diamond cast resin from Mackenzie Penworks, made with real, conflict-free, I don't know what that means, diamond dust that shimmers like the first stars appearing in the evening sky. So the diamond dust is conflict-free, meaning it's not going to fight each other. So there's no internal battles within your pen, which is great. You can burn the midnight oil writing and may never run out of ink thanks to the eyedropper filling design. Over 3 milliliters ink capacity. Plus, you won't have to worry about unexpected leaking or burping. The built-in shut-off valve system closes the ink access from the barrel reservoir to the feed, which is especially useful if you travel frequently. Write in perfect harmony with this fine writing instrument. Only 170 pens made in this exclusive collaboration. So it's called the Twilight Sonata. I don't know what they're referencing. Maybe it's like a play on words like the Moonlight Sonata by Ludwig van Beethoven. So the nibs are a black number 6 size Jovo stainless steel nib. They come in extra fine, medium, broad, 1.5 millimeter stub, elastic fine, or elastic extra fine for only $150. Well, $149. So again, I'm going to put the link in the description below. I'm also going to throw in the affiliate link so that if you guys are feeling generous, you can help me out and purchase it using the affiliate link. Okay. Also, this is another cool one because I'm a big coffee lover. So the Retro 51 Tornado Coffee House Fountain Pen. Now this is launched on Tuesday, June 4th, and they're available right now. As your senses percolate with the smell of freshly roasted coffee, you notice the the moment you walk into your favorite coffee shop. Oh, because, coffee shops, they use chalkboards. The day's specials are written on it, accompanied by a playful latte drawing and a barista's favorite drink. Inspired by the warm ambiance of a coffee house, this Retro 51 Tornado Fountain Pen displays a wraparound chalkboard-style illustration on a matte finish black barrel with matte stealth black trims. That's cool. The coffee fountain pen writes with a reliable Jovo number 6 size stainless steel nib available in a variety of tip sizes to accommodate your writing style. You have the option of refilling the pen using disposable, international size ink cartridges or with bottled ink using the included converter. Whether you love a pour over single origin roast, or frothy cappuccino, the Coffee House Tornado pen is enjoyable by all who get excited by the day's first cup. That is definitely me. I'm going to throw up pictures here. This pen looks really cool. I like this coffee pen. I wish there were more browns instead of like black, or like, like that dark chalkboard greenish color instead of black. Anyway, it still looks great. You'll see. Or if you're watching it, you're seeing it. Limited numbered editions of 250 pens. Nib sizes come in extra fine, medium, 1.1 millimeter stub. First Time Retro put a black nib on their fountain pens. The price is only $119. The link will be in the description below. So that's what we got so far for Goldspot. And thank you, Goldspot Pens, for being a continued sponsor and putting up with my schedule. But those are two really cool pens. Please check them out. And if you're going to purchase them, use the affiliate link in the description below. And if they're eligible, you can use coupon code STEAMBOAT at checkout for an additional savings on most of the products in Goldspot Pens. I'm not sure if these pens are MAP priced or not, meaning manufactured, advertised, pricing, regulated or not, but give it a shot. You might save money, which is great. Now, I also want to talk about Luxury Brands of America. And Luxury Brands of America, being the distributor they are, distribute a pen called the Endless Captiva with an all-new torque filler. Now, this one's an interesting one. The sophistication of a piston filler with the convenience of a converter. Watch the reel to learn all about the pen. The Captiva comes in 3 exciting colorways: blue with chrome trims, black with chrome trims, and an incredible all-black stealth version. They are available in 7 nib sizes. That's a lot of nib sizes. Extra fine, fine, medium, black, stub, architect, and needlepoint, which is really cool. Coming to retailers in late June of 2024, the MSRP is only $60. I am looking forward to this. I hope that they included a reel that they can show. I don't see a reel here, which means I'm going to have to get a reel. But also, don't forget about the GiorologioMade.com website. That's spelled GiorologioMade.com website. It's live. Now, if you use my affiliate link, I get a kickback, and you can also enjoy a 10% off discount with the coupon code PENSAVAGE10. I'll leave all this information in the link below. Visit the new Geologio website to get some of the best pen cases in the industry, trusted by many industry professionals as their choice when traveling to pen shows and live events. Visit GiorologioMade.com and experience the new Geologio shopping experience, which is really cool. They have some great fountain pen cases. I think it's a really awesome case. I have some myself. I use them when I travel with a lot of the acrylic pens. Nowadays, I'm finding I travel with my metal pens, like, for example, this pen here. I love this pen. It's the Formula M Innova. I just throw it in my pocket, and I'm not concerning myself too much with things getting scratched or whatnot. So anyway, check out the GiorologioMade.com website using the affiliate link in the description below, please. Thank you very much. Now, on to some serious business. The GoFundMe for my very good friend Mika is still live. Again, she was involved in a vehicle accident on April 12th and has been in a coma since then. She's currently undergoing rehabilitation. Very difficult time for her significant other, my very good friend Lyman. He is a UFC fighter. He was a champion fighter for Bellator. He was welterweight, and it's a very difficult time for him as well as the family, obviously. And anything helps. Anything, if you can just click on the GoFundMe link and drop a few bucks. You can leave your name. You can do it anonymously. It's up to you. But any amount helps. The medical costs are astronomical, and the GoFundMe is. If we hit the goal tomorrow, it would just not be enough. So any help counts. Any little amount helps. I want to thank Pen Chalet for chipping in. I want to thank Tom Otto, the Odd Oink, for chipping in. I want to thank Luxury Brands of America and Goldspot Pens, all who have chipped in. And everybody out there who chipped in, I sincerely appreciate it. Anyway, anything helps. Any amount helps. So please click on the GoFundMe link, throw in a few bucks, whatever you can. It will be much appreciated by myself, the family, and of course by Lyman Good, his significant other. It's funny, the word significant other was always used as kind of like a common term. But in the last 7-8 weeks that I've been around Lyman, which is almost every day, the word has new meaning to me. Like she is another term, his better half. Meaning, right now, one of the toughest dudes I've ever known, that I've ever trained with, that I've ever personally known. Toughest dude, hard as nails. Guy looks like he's made out of granite. Is not himself, because a large part of what made him whole, a large part, his other half, is not around right now. And it's taken a toll on him. Obviously, at this point in time, the only thing he's thinking about is her recovery, Mika's recovery, and he's not thinking about anything financial or anything else. All he's thinking is about her. And he's present when he shows up to things, like when he has to go to work or when I see him, but he's missing at the same time. It's heart-wrenching, it's heartbreaking. I've never seen a person missing so much of themselves because their significant other is not there with them. All the support that he's been given by friends and students of his through his martial arts academy, Tiger Schulman's, and the owners of Tiger Schulman's, and everybody involved in getting the GoFundMe to where it is now, is very encouraging. And he's very grateful, as is the family. Most of that GoFundMe is funded by his students and the organization, the martial arts organization that he's involved with. Almost all of it, actually. And a small portion is obviously, individuals, friends and family and stuff like that. And it's much appreciated. And there is, I'm pretty sure, I can't confirm or verify there, other than the 4 donors I named, Gold Spot Pens, Ron from Pen Chalet, Tom Otto, and Luxury Brands of America, a very small portion of it is also from you guys, and it's much appreciated. So anyway, I want to get on to my topic for today, which is, what does handwriting say about you? And we're going to discuss in particular, what does handwriting say about my personality? And we're going to go to a website. I'm going to share the website with you guys, and I'm going to, display my personality and the evidence on camera. So, before I get started, I want to give you guys a quick disclaimer. This podcast is not scripted and therefore will contain potty mouth words. So be forewarned, have been warned. Now, on to the podcast.
The PenBoyRoy Entertainment Podcast. Stay savage.
Okay, so I'm on a website called businessinsider.com. I'm going to leave this link in the description below so that you guys can follow along. But I was just Googling what your handwriting says about you, and this is the website that I came up with. It was one of the first or second one. It was written December 2nd of 2018 at 11:49 hours. And basically, it starts off by saying your handwriting says a lot about your personality. And then it gives you some examples. So this Business Insider, they spoke to a master graphologist, Kathy McKnight, who analyzes handwriting for personality traits to figure out what these details in your handwriting mean. So if you scroll down, there's a little synopsis. Your handwriting reveals much more than you might imagine. There's a whole science behind analyzing handwriting for personality traits, and it's called, what I mentioned before, graphology. And I didn't know this, and this is interesting. Graphology has been around since the days of Aristotle. So Aristotle is an old dude who said smart stuff a long time ago. And as of today, they use it for criminal investigations. They use it to understand your health. I'm not sure how handwriting is associated with health. Maybe We could look that up later. Some employers even use handwriting analysis to screen potential employees for compatibility. So Business Insider talked to master graphologist Kathy McKnight about the seemingly insignificant details in your writing and what it says about a person. So this is quote unquote, just from analyzing your handwriting, experts can find over 5,000 personality traits. Holy shit, 5,000, she says. See, that's big to me, because if you ask me how many personality traits I have, I would honestly say maybe 4. 5,000 personality traits? That's a lot of personality traits. I hope they're not talking about the same person. Maybe it's 5,000 different people, or maybe it's a large group of people. If they're talking about the same person, you might have a person with like multiple personality disorder. I don't know, like from that movie with the guy who played Professor Xavier in the X-Men movies when they were young. I forgot his name. Anyway, McKnight readily admits that the information she provides below is a basic overview, so it won't apply to everyone in every situation. Yet, these factors can show you aspects about yourself that you may not have considered before. So this is the part where I stop reading this next part. Try writing out the sentence that we suggest. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and then keep reading to see what your handwriting says about you. So I did that. I wrote over here, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. I wasn't trying to be extra neat or extra fancy or anything. I was simply just writing it out as if I was taking notes or writing in a journal or something like that, okay? So the very first thing that they talk about is the size of letters of words. So I'm not sure if this will apply, because this is not a blank sheet of paper. As you can see, this is dot grid paper. And since it is dot grid paper, it's however millimeters in between. So maybe I could have I used 2 dot spaces in between sentences, as you can see. Maybe I could have made it bigger, maybe I could have made it smaller and just fit it between 2 layers of dots. I don't know. But if you have large letters, you want to feel understood and noticed, and you're people-oriented. So I think this whole thing applies to me. If you use small letters, you have strong focus and concentration, and you're introverted. Okay, so I think they both apply to me. So for me, I guess this would be considered large. They don't have a medium size here, but I don't write small letters, so it does say a lot that you have strong focus and concentration, because I certainly don't have strong focus and concentration, as everybody knows who follows me. I am a poster boy for ADHD. But I am introverted, despite what people may think about me. So I took those personality tests that give you like 4 letters at the end, and it tells you about, your personality traits. And every time I take it, it turns out I'm an introvert. So I never really looked into it. Am I an introvert? Maybe I am. I do like staying at home, and when I do go out, I like going to like restaurants. I don't like crowded areas, and I don't like doing things like clubs and anything where there's a lot of loud noise. I like quiet. I like calm and peaceful. But the large letter does apply to me in both cases. You want to feel understood and noticed. Well, but who doesn't want to feel understood and noticed? Like, does anybody ever fucking wake up and they're just like, you know what? I hope nobody knows what I'm talking about today, and I hope I'm just invisible to the world. So, I mean, that could apply to me, but that could also apply to everyone. I don't know anybody that doesn't want to be understood and noticed. You're people-oriented. That for me is, that's such a broad statement. You're people-oriented. Yeah. I deal with people all the time. I think I'm typically friendly, and I get along well with pretty much everybody I interact with. So that makes me people-oriented. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like this is like those things, like those like fortunes that people read to you, and it's like, if you think about it hard enough, you can make everything apply to you. Because for large letters, you want to feel understood and noticed. That can, like I said, that applies to everybody. You're people-oriented. Anybody can make that work with themselves, right? Unless you're like super shy and you just don't interact with people ever. But everybody interacts with each other somehow. And then the small letters, you have strong focus and concentration. So boom, that is definitely not me. And I guess I don't write small. and you're introverted. That kind of applies to me because I guess I am an introvert, which is weird for someone who likes to post videos about fountain pens and handwriting on public spaces, right? I don't know. What do you think? I hope you guys are on this website following along and also writing out or written out "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." And tell me what your handwriting says about you with the size of letters and words. Now, the next one is slant. Okay, so obviously, as you can see, my handwriting, I have slants. I'm slanted to the right. But let's see what they say about no slant. You are ruled by logic, not emotion, which does apply to me, I think. You're very solid and pragmatic. So if you don't use slants, apparently you are ruled by logic and not emotion. You're very solid and pragmatic. So how does that apply to me, being that my handwriting is slanted? I think that I am logical and I'm not overly emotional. But if my wife were here, she would tell me that I'm ruled by emotion. So maybe no slant does work for me in the you're ruled by logic and not emotion, because I do make a lot of decisions based on emotion. To be totally honest, like I'll decide to go eat somewhere even though the food is not that great because I had a good experience there, like, or I'm sentimental about the place, right? Like I went there when I was with my wife and I'm out at work and I see the place, and I always miss my wife when I'm not with her, so even if it's only for like 9 hours of the day, I'll go and eat there even though I'm not really in the mood for that place. I'll do that just because I'm sentimental about it. You're very solid and pragmatic. I think I'm pragmatic. I'm pretty solid. I can do like 100 push-ups. Abs of steel. Maybe this one doesn't apply to me, but slanting right. You are heart-centered, friendly, sentimental, and impulsive. Oh, boom. Nailed me. I don't know what it means, heart-centered. But if that means like you have a good heart, I think I really have a good heart. People tell me I have a good heart all the time. I am very friendly. I'm friendly with people. Sentimental. I was just talking about how sentimental I am. And impulsive. Fuck yeah, I'm impulsive. Just look at me at a checkout line. I'll just buy stuff impulsively, or watch me scroll on Amazon for a while. Super impulsive. I actually bought a pen very recently, and it's a brand called X Musk, and I was just curious about it. It was only a couple of bucks. It was like $20. It's a fountain pen designed in California. I don't know much about it. I haven't written with it, but the reason I bought it is because it looks so much like a Namiki, or rather a Pilot. What's the lower end Urushi lacquer pens? If you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's obviously not Urushi lacquered, but it looks like one of those Galaxy pens. It seems to be decently well made, and the feed is unique looking. I don't know what the nib is. If I had to guess, I bet it's just an in-house Chinese-made pen and nib. Has a converter inside. Looks a lot like a knockoff Lamy converter, but it's a standard international converter. It looked cool. It was $20-something. I had to check it out just to see what we got going on for that price. And, it was designed in California. It came with it's really cool, actually. It came with 2 ink cartridges. These might not actually be international. These might be proprietary. I'll find out and let you guys know. And it came with a bottle of X Musk ink. Black fountain pen ink. Produced by X Musk. 18 milliliters. I mean, $20, you get a metal pen that looks pretty nice. I don't know anything about the pen. It may suck balls. Who knows? I'll keep you guys posted. But it's on Amazon for like $20-something. It's not bad. You highly value friends and family. And that is definitely true. But again, this is also something that you can apply to everybody. Like who wakes up in the morning and is like, you know what? Fuck all my friends, fuck all my family. I have no value for them at all. I mean, everybody values their friends and family at some point, right? So that can kind of apply to everybody. But I think the whole sentimental and impulsive, friendly does apply to me, and my handwriting does slant right. The no slant saying I'm ruled by logic, not emotion, doesn't really apply to me. And you're very solid and pragmatic, which is kind of the same statement, because if you're solid and pragmatic. You're being logical, right? So it's pretty much the same thing said twice. So if you don't use slants, you are not ruled by logic and emotion. And if you slant right, you're like me. You're heart-centered, whatever that means, friendly, sentimental, and impulsive, and you highly value friends and family, which I do. When my friends are in trouble, I step up. There are people who slant left, which is fine. What that means is, one, you prefer to work with things over people. So I wonder if that applies to me. Would I rather build something, maybe? Would I rather play with fountain pens instead of work in retail? I mean, like, how far can we take this? You prefer to work with things over people? Because that also kind of applies to me, right? Like, if you gave me the option of working at the DMV for a day or working at like luxury brands for a day and test all the pens, guess what I'm choosing? Yeah, I'm choosing the pens over the people. I'm not saying I would rather burn people over pens. Obviously, people's lives are more important. If I had to burn a pen or a person, that's a tough call. I would burn the pen. Next, you are introspective and reserved. Definitely not me. Even though, yes, I am introverted, I am introspective. I'm certainly not reserved. I'm not the combination. And you're more me-oriented. So does that mean you're self-centered? Some people might think that I'm self-centered. I'm actually not, despite how I behave. Though some people have called me self-centered. I don't know. But my writing certainly doesn't slant left. I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm not me-oriented. But I kind of do prefer to work with things over people. No, that's not true, because when I'm at work, I like to deal with people while I am doing my work. I think it's so subjective. If you ask me if I'd rather play video games or work with people, I'd probably rather play video games. I don't know what a good comparison would be. But I think overall, I prefer to work with things over people might apply to me, but it depends on the scenario. I'm introspective, but I'm definitely not reserved. And I don't think I'm me-oriented. All right, the next one is pressure. Now, this one is a flaw, because when it comes to fountain pens, we don't really use pressure unless we have a flex nib, right? So it either puts somebody as light pressure, or if they're a flex nib user, heavy pressure. But let's just play with this. Heavy pressure, you have strong emotions and feel things very intensely. See, well, this is where it doesn't work out. And you can be quick to react. Both of those things apply to me, but I don't use heavy pressure when I write because I don't want to fuck up my nibs, right? I do have strong emotions and feel things very intensely because I'm melodramatic. And that's a common trait for people with ADHD. Melodramatic, everything is theatrics. You can't just say no, you have to put on a production and say no. You can't just say yes, you have to shout it to the skies, and it's just theatrics. So yes, I have strong emotions and feel things very intensely. However, this one doesn't apply to us because we use fountain pens. Now, light pressure, which applies to everybody that uses fountain pens except for flex nibs, you move easily from place to place and you don't wear yourself out emotionally. See, I use light pressure and neither of those things apply to me. Do I really move easily from place to place? No, I am a creature of habit. I like to do the same things. Like, I like to go to the same gym. I like to have routines. I like to go train at the same place. I like to train with the same, well, that's not true. I like to change up training partners to see how they, how I react to different punches and kicks and stuff like that. But I am a person of habit. I like to use the same vehicle when I'm at work. I like to use the same pen for a period of time. And even when it comes to food, I'll find something that I like and I'll eat it every day for like 6 months until I get sick of it, and then I don't eat it anymore and I switch to something else. But you don't wear yourself out emotionally. That to me is not under my control. If something affects me emotionally, then it affects me emotionally. I don't back away from it and hide from it. Sometimes we have to block things out in order to function, but I don't think that's what they're talking about. I think that if something is beating me up, I'm an overthinker. I'll think it to death, come up with all kinds of fears and stresses and all that stuff, and it's impossible for me to stop thinking about something that I'm worried about. Okay, upper zone. So there's 4 different upper zones. And I'm not sure what this is. There's looped, retraced, there's looped, and retraced again. Okay, so you guys are going to have to follow along. So there's like a lowercase l, right? And the first one is looped. If you're looped, you have big hopes and dreams for the future, which I'm not sure looking at my handwriting if I'm looped or not, because some of my letters are looped and some of them are not looped. Like if you look at the quick brown fox writing sample, the B in brown is looped, and the lower part of F is looped, and the top part is looped almost. The L's are obviously looped. The H, the lowercase h is looped. I don't know about this one. Then there's retraced. That's when you kind of like, if you were drawing a lowercase l and there's no loop in the L, it's just on top of each other. You may have had your hopes and dreams squelched. See, but that's a problem now. Looped and retraced can apply to a lot of people. Like you could be a retracer and have big hopes and dreams for the future. You could be a looper, someone who loops their lower cases or upper cases, and have your hopes and dreams squelched, which is really sad. And then there's a lowercase t, where it's looped and crossed, right? You are sensitive to criticism and might be paranoid. Well, fuck you. And then there's a retraced lowercase t. You are a good worker, disciplined, and self-controlled. Well, fuck. That does not apply. So for my lowercase t, as you can see in the writing sample, my lowercase t is retraced. I do not think I am a good worker who's disciplined and self-controlled. As a matter of fact, I think impulsivity has a lot to do with me, and sometimes I have a lack of self-control. I mean, but then again, when it comes to training and physical fitness and discipline there, yes, I am. So I guess if you're talking about exercise and fitness, yes, I'm a great worker who's disciplined and self-controlled. So maybe retraced applies to me. And you'd have to ask my boss if I am a good worker, disciplined, and self-controlled. I don't know. I show up. If I'm supposed to do something, I get it done. I don't cut corners. I guess I am a good worker. I do it because it's mandated, not because I'm disciplined and self-controlled. I guess I have to be. So maybe retraced here when it comes to lowercase t definitely applies to me. Looped, I don't draw my lower cases looped anyway, but I am also not sensitive to criticism, and I'm not paranoid, though I am a worrier about stuff that I can't control, but that doesn't mean necessarily paranoid. Okay. Oh, so I understand the difference between upper zone and lower zone. They're talking about letters that have the potential to loop on the way up and then back down. Lower zone is things like G and Y and Z's, where you come down, create a loop. Here there's 4 categories. There's slender lower loops, broad lower loops, long lower loops, and short lower loops. So slender, you are selective in who you call a good friend. I know that whenever I talk about anybody on the show, I always say my good friend so-and-so, this, that, and the other thing. But when it comes to real interpersonal relationships, like friends who this is what I call a good friend, and tell me what you guys think, or what do you guys call a good friend? I call a good friend someone that is there for you when you need, or rather someone who exposes their true colors as a good friend during the worst times. Not during the good ones, not during your celebrations and your successes, but they're your friend. They're who you need them to be when you're at your lowest. That to me is what a good friend is. So I am selective when it comes to who I call a good friend. And I would say that my loops are slender. So I'm not trying to make this apply. I think that it does apply. If you have a broad loop, you have a large circle of friends. Okay, so now I'm conflicted, because if you look at the word lazy in the handwriting sample, they're both slender. But if you look at dog all the way at the bottom, I have a broad loop. And that actually, I don't know if it applies, because it says you have a large circle of friends. It doesn't say you have a large circle of good friends, because I have a very small circle of good friends. And now we got to talk about what it means to call someone a friend. And there's a line between friend and acquaintance, or friend and work buddies, right? So I do have a broad Y or a broad G, but I have to say I don't have a large circle of friends. I have a large circle of friends, but not a large circle of good friends. So maybe it does make sense. Now, if you have a long lower loop, you love to travel. See, I do have long lower loops. I'm not the biggest on traveling. So take a look. They are long. Whether they're broad or slender is irrelevant. They are long. I'm not the craziest about traveling. So I think that's wrong. And then if you have a short loop, you are a homebody. Now I'm looking at the picture of the short loop that they have there, and there are times when I do write short loops. Maybe not, because I'm looking at this note to self writing prompt I did, where I wrote, you cannot simply will yourself not to be lactose intolerant by drinking milkshakes right here. They're all long, so maybe short loops on the lower zone don't apply to me. So, but I am a homebody. But I wonder if being slender and broad and long eliminates you being a homebody, because I am kind of a homebody. So then there's connections of letters. Now here they're not showing you script, they're showing you print. If they're not connected, you are logical, methodical, and make decisions carefully. And if they are connected, if you're following along, you are intelligent and intuitive. So when it comes to print, my letters are messy and connected. It looks more like the second one where it's connected. You are intelligent and intuitive. Maybe I'm intelligent, intuitive, I don't know. But the thing is not connected. You are logical, methodical, and make decisions carefully. I do make decisions carefully. I think I'm logical. Don't know if I'm entirely methodical. So maybe they both apply. I'm not sure how much this stuff applies. It's almost like horoscopes and stuff like that, or fortune cookies at this point. What do you guys think? Please let me know if you're following along, that is, of course. And how is this working out for you? I feel like, for me, it's real hit or miss. If there's anybody out there that it's nailing on the head, I want to know about it and how. And give me examples, right? So like, for example, in not connected, you're logical, methodical, and make decisions carefully. I think everybody watching this is logical, methodical, and makes decisions carefully, because otherwise, why would you be watching this? You're watching this because you're trying to learn more about fountain pens, or you're watching because you found my channel and you are looking at reviews and then you came across the podcast. So that's finding out reviews about something you want to buy or get into is logical. And finding out whether you should spend the money on it, it's a methodical thing to do, and you're making a decision carefully despite how much the pen costs. It could be 20, it could be 1,000, who cares? But you're making decisions carefully. But does that mean you're not intelligent and intuitive if it's not connected? Because connected says you are intelligent and intuitive. So I think we're really in a realm of so much subjectivity, it's hard to even say. Okay, here's dotted I's. If you have a circle that's a dotted I, like here, you're childlike and playful, and I can see that. I don't ever do dots like that. You're artistic and like to stand out. Now I could see that. I could see that because I know a lot of people who do their dotted I's like a circle, and they are childlike and playful people. Like you see that a lot with bubble letters and stuff like that. You're artistic and like to stand out. I can see why that applies, because that I having a circle instead of a dot, it does stand out. It says something about standing out. And then if it's just a dot, it's a filled in dot, you don't like clutter. You pay great attention to detail. Okay, that works for me, because I don't like clutter. although I am always fucked with clutter because I'm messy. I don't like it. I like it when it's not cluttered. It drives me nuts, but take a look at my desk. I'm not going to show you guys because it's embarrassing, but it's a mess. I don't like it. So that applies. And you pay great attention to detail, for fuck sure, because when I get a fountain pen, every detail matters to me. And you can tell if you see my reviews. I go into detail, I dissect things, and I go crazy on it. But anyway, this is actually really interesting, this one in particular, because this one completely applies. Crossed T's. So if you cross the T at the high point of the T, and here it's a lowercase t, you have high goals and self-esteem. If you aim low, then that means you aim low and have strong insecurities. Now I'm looking at my T's and I'm like, shit, where do I aim? What happens if you don't aim low, but you're kind of 3/4 of the way up? Oh, this is making me think about myself. Do I aim low and have strong insecurities? I really don't think so. So I think neither apply. Do I have high goals and self-esteem? Yeah, but I don't cross T's that high. Again, horoscope type shit, right? All right, line spacing. If you have little spacing, you have poor time management. Completely and totally applies to me. If you have even spacing, you are aware of boundaries. I think I'm the even spacing, and I think my spacing is pretty even, but it's also cheating because I'm using dot pad, right? I didn't realize that this should have been a blank piece of paper, but I don't know. This whole thing is very like horoscope type, fortune cookie type stuff now. So I don't know if this is really accurate or applies. And I know it said earlier in the article that this is something that may not apply to everybody because it's very basic. But I feel like this is like 50-50. And I want to know everybody else. How was it for you guys? Did you guys follow along? Can you guys go ahead and share your experience? And let's talk about it together. And I'll make sure I comment and go back and forth. And if it missed the mark for you like it did for me, tell me about how it missed the mark, right? So again, going back to size, letters, and words, I feel like everything can apply. Slant, yeah, I think a lot of this can apply, and a lot of things, yeah, a lot of it applies, even though it's not the correct slant that applies to my handwriting. Pressure is just off the mark completely because we're talking fountain pens. And then the upper zones, right? I think a person can be more than one of these four things at the same time. But what's funny is it feels like for most of these, there's nothing that contradicts each other, right? So like you are selective in who you call a good friend in the lower zone. And then you have a large circle of friends. You could have a large circle of friends that you're very selective about. And then the only ones that contradict each other are long and short, which is you love to travel versus you're a homebody. And then when you're coming to connections of letters, you could write either way and they both apply, right? Like if you are intelligent and intuitive, that's not far off from being logical, methodical, and making decisions carefully, right? Like these don't contradict each other. It's not like saying one, you're really smart and you're a fucking genius. The other one, you're a damn moron, right? Because then we would have a real problem if it didn't match. But I think these things are designed to be very applicable to people of all types. The dotted eyes one I found the most interesting. And let me know what you guys think was the most interesting. You are childlike and playful, artistic, and like to stand out. I mean, the eye looks like a cartoon character eye. And then if it's just a filled in dot, this one is the most clear out of all of them. The cross T's I call bullshit on. And the little spacing versus the even spacing, I mean, if you're evenly spacing, you're aware of boundaries. And if there's little spacing, you have poor time management. I don't see how those are. I don't see how those mean different things. Like, you can have poor time management, but be aware of boundaries, right? You know how those people, very successful people, are late all the time, but they respect people's boundaries. Like, I don't know. So I don't know. This is like, to me, like I said, this is very fortune cookie type stuff. You tell me what you think, and if you think that it's legit, explain. Tell me. I'd like to hear it. And don't be offended that I don't see it that way. It's just everybody's complex. Everybody is different. The way they operate, the way their mind functions, everybody's different. So, like I said, don't feel bad if we're not on the same page when it comes to that. It has nothing to do with you. I'm just sharing what mine is and my opinions on it. So, anyway, that's all I got for this week. Thanks again for joining us. Thank you, my sponsors, Gold Spot Pens and Luxury Brands of America. I feel like this was a very interesting thing to go through. I think it'd be more interesting when I hear from you guys. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Love you guys. Be well, be safe.